your flu shot?
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly board session. It's Wednesday, September 17th. It is a little after 9 o'clock, and we are here in the Center hearing room at 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. As always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So much
I have to
enthusiasm.
remind everyone that if disorder is caused in this room, you'll be escorted out, and we may even end our board session early. I will take a motion from the commissioners to move our proclamation up.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I will make a motion that we move the proclamation up in front of public comment.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Okay, so we have some folks here.
We also, do we want to do this part first too?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to move item number 13 under information technology from action to consent, the contract for services with Carasoft Technology Corporation.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The motion passes. Okay, so we have some folks here to celebrate the Constitution. Why don't you guys come on up and introduce yourselves?
Thank you very much. I'm Day Westine. I'm a member of Daughters of American Revolution, Schmeketa chapter here in Salem. And I would like to start out if we could just stand, everybody stand, and we'll just repeat the preamble to the Constitution. Okay. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Thank you. This is Constitution Week, and today is Constitution Day.
Oh, can you bring that microphone up to your?
Yeah,
Sorry
I'll
about
just sit
that.
down. Okay, this week is considered Constitution Week, and today is Constitution Day, and you can fly your flags at home, not at half-staff, but all the way to the top. And I have just a couple or three questions that last Saturday, those members that we had our regular DAR meeting, and so we were told that we needed to take a little test on the Constitution. So you're in luck because I will answer the questions too. I'm sure that you all know the first three words of the preamble, and it's "We the People." How many members signed the Constitution in the very beginning when the men were discussing it? And that is 39 members did. And do you know who the oldest signer was? It was Benjamin Franklin. And I suppose that's my phone. I hope not.
We'll just pretend it's not happening.
What are the first 10 amendments of the Constitution known as? The Bill of Rights. And which amendment abolished slavery? It was number 13. Which amendment gave women the right to vote? That was number 19. And now a more sooner amendment, which amendment gave the 18-year-olds the right to vote? And that is number 26. And when exactly was the Constitution signed? Does anyone know the date? It was September 1787. And that's the end of your question and answer period. You're
Do we
in luck.
pass?
My members, we had to answer 20 of them, so it's very simple. It is very important to teach our children and grandchildren about the Constitution, because that is what allows us to be here and give testimony or lead the everything. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with all of you.
Thank you so much for being here. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Yeah, I apologize for those of you who don't know the rules here. We're not going to have applause during our meetings. Thank you.
Proclamation.
Well, commissioners, do you have any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we have a proclamation
We do have a
in front of us.
proclamation,
Yes, we
and,
haven't forgotten, but usually we have interactions with those that are doing the proclamations.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you would like me to, I would make a motion to approve the proclamation, and then we can read that proclamation.
Please do.
Great.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve a proclamation designating the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week in Marion County.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I only have one question. If somebody was to want to be a member of your organization, how would they go about doing that?
You need to be able to trace your ancestry all the way back to when we came over from England. And there are lots of people that can help do that. But if you know your genealogy to come back, why, it's very simple. And we have, just you can contact me or others, or just go to the national website and fill out a form.
Okay, thank you.
I wouldn't make it.
No,
I
he's
wouldn't
an
make,
Irishman.
I wouldn't
He
make the
would
cut. My
You
people didn't
could
come
do
soon enough.
Sons of the American
Oh, there
Revolution.
we go. Okay.
There's a group for men.
not. So you meant
There's a group for
gender,
me.
not Irish?
No, I meant I couldn't trace it back to the revolution.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make the cut.
All
Okay.
right, Mr. Chair, I will, did we vote?
No.
Oh, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Motion passes. Please begin.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I will read this proclamation in a matter of observing September 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week in Marion County. Proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled public meeting on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to the rule of law. And whereas
We celebrate our heritage as a country bound together by fidelity to set a set of ideas and a system of governance first laid out in America's Constitution. The product of fierce debate and enduring compromise, our nation's Constitution has guided our progress from 13 to 50 United States that stretch from sea to shining sea. And whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and
Whereas this week we reflect on the basic rights and responsibilities of citizenship, the founding documents from which they were drawn, and the extraordinary legacy of progress they have enabled. Let us forever uphold the ideals the framers enshrine in our Constitution, and let us never cease in our pursuit of the more perfect union they imagined so many years ago. And now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in us as the Commissioners for Marion County, we do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Okay. Would you like to come take a picture? Sure. Okay.
I feel like we should have a
They gave us word searches.
John will do it for you.
the iPhone.
Okay.
3,
The iPhone.
2, 1. Good. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
We'll be glad to come back next year.
Thank you for the crossword puzzle, too. Appreciate it.
There's two.
Two of them. Be good things for my grandsons.
I was thinking about Constitution Week as I was coming in today, because I'm sure you know, a very prominent person was shot last week and killed, Charlie Kirk, and he was debating at a school, at a college. And I think America is kind of, when I think of the First Amendment in America, what I think of is I think of, you know, the town square, standing on a soapbox in town square and giving speeches, something maybe like out of Little House on the Prairie or something, you know. And I was thinking about what happened last week, and it seems to me that what he was doing was the equivalent of that. He was in a public space debating, and he was shot. And I have little kids at home, and I think it really hit home to me the part of my day that's the most joyful for me is when I come home and I hear the little feet running, you know, daddy's home, daddy's home, daddy's home. And
A lot of little feet.
a lot of little feet. And I realized that for his family, for his wife and his children, those little feet are never going to get to run and give their dad a hug anymore, because someone shot him because he was exercising his rights as an American. So I think it's more important than ever that we recommit ourselves to the Constitution, to the First Amendment especially, and maybe especially when we disagree with each other, and maybe especially when we disagree with who's speaking. So I just wanted to kind of share that before we go into the rest of our agenda. Okay, we will now have public comments, and I have a list of folks signed up here, and so I'm going to call you up one at a time, and it'll be the same as last time. Everybody will get 2 minutes to speak, and then we're going to, we have another event at 11:30, so we're going to wrap it up at after about 30 minutes, and if there are people left over and we have time at the end, you can stick around and we'll do more public comment at the end. So I'm just going to start at the beginning, and if I mispronounce your name, I really apologize. The first person is Jill Hollingsworth, is that right? Yes. If you want to come over here, introduce yourself.
Mr. Chair, I have an appointment at 11 o'clock.
Oh, at 11 o'clock.
I do. I have to leave here at about 5 till.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So go ahead and introduce yourself for the record and let us know what's on your mind.
Good morning. I'm really glad we're talking about the Constitution today. I'm here to talk about the lawsuit that Marion County...
Sorry to interrupt. You'll need to introduce yourself and give us your address for the record.
Oh,
Name,
yeah, of
last
course.
name, address.
All right, thank you. My name is Jill Hollingsworth. My address is 1790 24th Street Northeast in Salem.
Thank you.
Am I good to go?
You're good to go.
All right, okay. So my understanding of the lawsuit that Marion County is seeking to clarify whether to follow state or federal law in regards to assisting ICE in deporting migrants is the topic that I want to talk about. And I have some questions. Why are we seeking clarity when the federal law allows for deportations without due process? We're talking about the Constitution today. The Fifth Amendment is very clear on this point. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. Note that this says person, not citizen. And over the years, the Supreme Court has consistently ruled that the due process clause applies to all people in the United States. Yet the Department of Homeland Security is routinely deporting people without due process. Initially, the administration claimed that ICE would only deport hardened criminals, but they are coming into neighborhoods, abducting people with brown skin, loading them on planes, and sending them to countries where they don't know the language and have no connections to anyone in the country, depriving them of the liberty and in many cases their very lives. Last night, I watched a video clip where a mother and her daughter had fled their country because of gang violence and were both deported. Neither had a criminal record. They were deported, and not only that, but ICE refused the mother her medication, and she died 2 months later.
Thank you. Your time is up. Okay, next up we have Inga Johnson.
Good morning, my name is Inga Johnson. My address is 1805 23rd Street Northeast here in Salem. I'm retired now, but before that I worked for 27 years as a district court clerk in Ada County, Idaho. I've sat in on countless legal proceedings, anything from bouncing checks to crimes so egregious you don't even want to know about them. Over the years I was assigned to work specifically for 5 different district judges, but I've filled in for dozens of others. And they all have one thing in common. They all have a huge respect for due process, the rights afforded us as people in this country, citizen or not. Every proceeding begins with the accused's advice of rights with interpreters if needed. So many rights that they're written down so that the judges don't forget even one of them. On and on, page after page, blah, blah, blah. I got so where I could recite them along with the judge in my mind. After a while, you just take them for granted. But if it had ever come to light that someone's rights were possibly violated in any way, it all comes to a screeching halt as the allegation that rights were violated comes under close investigation, sometimes resulting in the accused being set free and charges dropped. At first, in my naivety, I thought that, oh, it's no big deal. They all know their rights. They know what's going on. They're all probably guilty anyway. And I thought it was just a big waste of time. But as time went on, I began to see and realize just how desperately important these rights are. Rights of due process are one of the things that separates us as Americans from being a police state, a dictatorship, a fascist regime. It's what makes us America, with liberty and justice for all, regardless of what we look like, what language we speak, how we act, how we dress. We cannot lose these rights. Even if one person loses them, we all lose them. We all stand to lose them eventually. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next up I have Kathleen Treppa.
Yes, thank you very much. Kathleen Treppa. I live here in the city of Salem, and I have 2 concerns. My first relates to the last meeting where the Commissioner Bethel voted to approve 2 contract amendments in excess of $2 million for a contractor that employs her son. She did indicate that she had a possible conflict, but not an actual conflict, and voted in the affirmative. I watched the playback twice to be sure. I'd like to point out that Oregon's conflict of interest laws state that an elected official should recuse themselves from voting for any contract that benefits a family member, which includes a child. An explanation might be helpful. Otherwise, people will think you're just really blasé and think you can just sort of skim over conflict of interest laws, which are very, very important, especially if you think you're going to run for governor. My second comment relates to the lawsuit. I find the statements about the inconsistencies between state and federal law to be a pretext. It's not uncommon to have these inconsistencies in their norms that are established to determine which takes precedent. This law has been on the books, even amended, and if there was no need to call into question whatever perceived inconsistencies there are now. Perhaps the key difference has to do with the administrative warrant versus the judicial warrant, and the judicial warrant was used by previous administrations without question. And to say that you would provide personal information anyway in response to a public records request, well, I'm surprised that information hasn't been provided already, because tips to law enforcement are very common. So I'm assuming that federal law enforcement officials already have that information. My concern is that the federal government is trampling over people's constitutional rights, and administrative warrants are just another way to bypass due process. And by the way, nobody in this room supports a rapist. But what we do support is due process and protecting people's constitutional rights. And if we're going to be upset, we might as well be upset about the man in Salem, who happens to be white, who just was sentenced to 180 days in jail for raping and abusing 3 minors that he preyed online. That's where your indignation should be.
Thank you. Okay, next up, is it Michelle Golay? Okay, please.
Thank you all. I'm here to speak about harm today. Showing he has the power to harm is this president's point.
I'm sorry, Michelle, can you introduce yourself for the record?
I'm so sorry. Michelle Golay, and I'm from the city of Salem, 97305.
Thank you.
And I'm here today to speak about harm. Showing he has the power to harm is this president's point. Marion County's lawsuit and support of it by sheriffs and other counties will not prevent harm against Oregonians by a president who has no respect for the laws of our sanctuary state. Your intention to protect Marion County and the people of Marion County from harm is good. The lawsuit, however, divides us as people and normalizes a cruel presidency which causes harm to all Oregonians. We must stand together to oppose the harm this president seeks to force upon the people of Marion County, the state of Oregon, and the United States of America.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Larry Ramsey, is that right? Come on up and introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Larry Ramsey. I live at 97301. This lawsuit is going forward challenging the Oregon sanctuary law so the U.S. Attorney General can send in federal troops along with ICE officials. Suppose you are successful. Suppose black SUVs are a daily presence in Portland, Eugene, and Salem. We will have people hired by the puppy killer lady and the Attorney General cliche for blonde. Men and women who have been quickly hired and poorly trained by these poor examples of leadership. Even worse, some of them may be people who desire the excitement of gunfire. This is the script for another Kent state. Do you, Madam Commissioner, want your visage splashed all over Facebook after such an event? I am not sure this will help your political aspirations. The Republican regime in Washington, D.C. will stink up the way local Republican politics will be regarded for years to come in Oregon, because they will be here telling you how to do your job if you know what is good for you. And we don't have enough millions to bribe the conservatives on the Supreme Court to save us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer Carley.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Carley. My zip code's 97302. I'm a recently retired psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. My patients came from all walks of life: immigrants, police officers, parole officers, prison guards, ex-felons, people struggling with addictions, and victims of terrible crimes. I know from my work with professionals in law enforcement how difficult and traumatizing that work can be. I also know how committed they are to public safety. The work can make the world seem like an unsafe place, and the opportunity to banish people with criminal histories may be rather appealing. It is my hope, however, that all of us share the same conviction that every member of our community has a right to move freely and safely, and all can feel secure in knowing the law enforcement community can be trusted to protect their legal rights. Oregon's sanctuary law was passed in 1987 by nearly unanimous votes in both the House and Senate. This support was because the law made it more likely that victims and witnesses of serious crimes would come forward with important information, making law enforcement and criminal prosecution easier. The stated concern of this lawsuit is clarification of how to respond to ICE subpoenas for information about undocumented people with serious criminal histories. However, this dilemma has been addressed already in 7 previous lawsuits, and the answer is clear. Tell ICE to get a warrant signed by a judge. When the warrant is served, the information is shared legally. This lawsuit is unnecessary, a waste of taxpayer dollars, and breeds distrust and fear. It sends the message that the unlawful kidnapping of contributing members of our communities is supported by you, our county commissioners, and most of the sheriffs in Oregon. Everyone needs to be safe and confident that you have everyone's back. I'm advocating for dropping the lawsuit.
Thank you. Okay, next is Elise Strauss.
My name is Elise Strauss, and I live in Salem. You guys said some interesting things after we left last time, and I quote, "I think it's really unfair that we have residents in this community who state that they have read the lawsuit and yet choose to impose their beliefs on the intent of that lawsuit." Oh, we've read the lawsuit. That's why we're here. And it all boils down to one thing. You can't share information with ICE unless you have a judicial warrant. That's it. That's all. And we're here because we're upset that you didn't take the time to figure this out for yourself. And we're upset because the lawsuit is cloaked under Trump's dog whistle of getting criminals off the street. You also said, "I have never once in my life asked anybody who's ever come forward for help for a birth certificate or a green card or any other form of documentation that's irrelevant to me when they are in harm's way and they need help." You know who else feels exactly that same way? ICE. They don't care if you have a green card or any form of documentation either. They're not going after criminals, and you know it. They've got bounties to cash in on. You've seen the videos, dragging people out of cars, tackling them in Home Depots, leaving kids abandoned in cars on the side of the road, the breaking of bones, the cries for help, the ignoring of the cries for help. You've seen those videos. That's why we're here. You've taken a chapter out of the Republican playbook, and we're calling you out on it. You've got a Democrat AG and a Democrat governor who have publicly stated that they've got your back and mine when it comes down to violation of sanctuary state laws. But you choose to do what the Republicans always do these days: feign ignorance and take no accountability. Whatever the Dems or the Libs, or as we're called now by Stephen Miller, domestic terrorists want or have set in place, it's to be called out and dismantled. We want leaders and representatives that will protect our most vulnerable neighbors, and that's not you.
Thank you. Okay, Jim Shepke, you're next.
Good morning, Jim Shepke, Salem. I want to recommend an article to you and to everybody in this room that appeared in the New Yorker magazine September 15th of this year. It's called "Enemies of the State Inside the Trump Administration's Mass Deportation Program." And this passage struck me. It says, "According to recent figures from the Deportation Data Project at the University of California, Berkeley, May marked an inflection point for ICE. The agency began arresting more people without criminal convictions than with them. By July, more than 40,000 of the 57,000 immigrants in ICE detention, or 70%, had no criminal conviction. 70% had no criminal convictions. The administration has already spent more money on immigration enforcement than ICE's annual budget. Additional funding to resolve the shortfall was included in Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which moved swiftly through Congress. It gave $75 billion to ICE, tripling the agency's budget, most of it aimed at expanding detention capacity. Nationwide, the agency's expanded budget will allow it to hold 100,000 people at a time. We mustn't be a part of this. We mustn't be a part of this. And you should do everything within your power to see that we're not a part of this. And the first thing you can do is stop the suit. Thank you.
Thank you. David Watson, you're next.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is David Watson. My wife and I reside in unincorporated Marion County outside of Turner. I was born and raised in Salem, and I'm recently retired as a Protestant minister, most recently having served in hospital chaplaincy in Salem and most recently in Silverton. I came today for two reasons: to understand better the lawsuit in the context of the Ninth Circuit saying there's no conflict between Oregon sanctuary law and federal law. And number two, I want to add to this discussion what I have observed, in my opinion, to be left out of this conversation, and that is the faith and cultural values of sanctuary laws that date back to the beginning of civilization. Today, unfortunately, the White House and the U.S. Department of Justice have given sanctuary a bad name. The meaning of sanctuary, including Oregon's current law, is not about evading justice. Rather, the meaning of sanctuary is the purpose to provide safety and protection for all people to go before their God and their faith community and their society, and to make confession of their wrongdoing, confession of their sins, or to declare their innocence and seek restitution within the laws of this land. While acknowledging that no one is above the law, including Governor Neil Goldschmidt himself, who signed this law in 1987, this is the foundation upon which the governor signed this law.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to stop so someone else can have a turn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Rachel Atchison.
Commissioners, my name is Rachel Atchison, and I live in 97302. After reading the statement, on our sanctuary policy from the Oregon AG's office, and hearing that you did not contact his office prior to filing your lawsuit, it becomes even more clear that this is a political stunt. Unfortunately, in choosing this path and now spreading this poison to other counties, you're risking real harm to huge numbers of Oregonians. In the cases of the hard criminals that you are using to stoke public fear, the feds are perfectly capable of issuing judicial warrants, as I'm sure you and your activist lawyers are well aware. While I have been disappointed by many decisions this body has made in the past, I'm absolutely furious about this one. Our tax dollars are paying for you all to be the highest paid county commissioners in this state. And now you blatantly use your position not to represent your constituents, but to further your careers in a developing authoritarian regime. This is all incredibly disingenuous and anti-democratic, as Oregon voters have repeatedly showed support for remaining a sanctuary state. We are paying close attention now, and I caution you that continuing down this road may have the opposite effect on your political prospects than that which you are intending.
Thank you. Next up, we have Haley, is it Polly? Polly. Come on down.
Hi, my name is Haley. I am Haley Polly. I am from Silverton, 97381. And I want to start with a quote from a kid who is watching their community be torn apart. Terrible things are happening outside. At any time of night and day, poor helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. Families are torn apart. Men, women, and children are separated. Children come home from school to find their parents have disappeared. Women return from shopping to find their houses sealed and their families gone. That was by Anne Frank. We are seeing this behavior from a government now in America right now. We are seeing mothers that are pregnant being snatched away from their children, from their families, that have made no criminal convictions. They are not here committing crimes. They are here with their families. Telling you to drop the suit is honestly probably pointless. You guys have the power and you're choosing to do what you're going to do. But here's the thing. At the next election, who has the power? Think about that.
Thank you. Next, we have Paige Barton.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Paige Barton, and my zip code is 97317. I'm here today as chair of the Marion County Democratic Party. I'm announcing to you 301 petition signatures from folks throughout Marion County. Not only from Salem-Keizer, but also Woodburn, Gervais, Sublimity, Turner, Scotts Mills, Almsville, Mount Angel, and Silverton. The Oregon Attorney General is required under statute to maintain a publicly available database of exemptions to public records law. Our sanctuary laws are contained within the database. The sanctuary laws do not conflict, but rather supersede the right of a federal agency or an individual designee to have access to records for an immigration purpose. The threat of funding loss is something every county in Oregon is experiencing. The theory that the governor would sue Marion County is just that, an allegation. To my knowledge, no lawsuit like this exists. We need commissioners to work with state leaders before taking action. It's true that this does serve a campaign narrative to make these accusations against Ms. Bethel's future opponent, and Marion County citizens are paying for it. Property taxes are due in less than 2 months. The staff time you spend on this lawsuit before you've exhausted lower level actions cost us money. The sheriffs and the county commissioners from other parts of the state who say they support this lawsuit, they're not paying for it. We are. All while the law remains clear, you cannot release information without a judicial warrant. The Marion County Democrats will work vigorously to support challenger candidates to this commission next year. This is only the latest example of how complacent and out of touch you've become. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Kay Davis. Is Kay here?
Hi, good morning. I'm Kim Davis. I live in 97306, and I have concerns about ethics and conflicts of interest. One of our commissioners is campaigning and fundraising for another office of government. Rather than being careful to avoid the appearance of campaigning while doing county work, they have launched a highly politicized lawsuit that has led to increased polarization and divisiveness among our communities. It is hard to imagine this is a coincidence. There was no need to initiate a lawsuit and no need to imply the state and governor are somehow on the other side. As our Attorney General has stated, quote, there is no conflict between Oregon sanctuary law and federal law. The federal government, state, and local communities have a shared interest in keeping our communities safe. That's why Oregon sanctuary law allows the federal government to seek a judicial warrant to carry out its public safety objectives under federal law, unquote. Knowing this and the differences between administrative and judicial warrants make the county's lawsuit appear to be simply a publicity stunt. To grandstand on a polarizing issue like sanctuary law can easily be seen as a campaign stunt of a wannabe politician. I urge all members to abstain from using this commission for personal gain. Using tax dollars or staff time for such activities is an insult to your taxpayers. Be ethical. Use your position as commissioner to work for Marion County, not to publicize a campaign or attempt to sway potential voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Peter Burgle.
Good morning. My name is Peter Burgell. I live in 97302. Legally, this issue is clear. The Constitution has spoken both the 14th, the 5th, and the 4th, the 5th, and 14th Amendments. The Ninth Circuit Court has spoken, saying there's no conflict between Oregon sanctuary law and federal law. AG Dan Rayfield has spoken, saying the same, and vowing to defend Oregon statutes vigorously if they are challenged. So what does Marion County gain from pursuing this pointless lawsuit, which those who already fear ICE see as trying to weaken the little protection they have? Not only are those of us here highly disturbed by this attempt to undermine the sanctuary law, but I also imagine that a lot of those who live in the rural parts of our county and depend on immigrant labor for their agricultural businesses will be angered if your efforts result in their not being able to run their businesses successfully because ICE has either arrested or driven off their workers. I would expect that many of your constituents, regardless of party, will be irate if ICE ruins their businesses by stealing their workforce. Now, we are in a moment of extreme danger to our Constitution, our American way of life, our rights and freedoms, and our people's safety. It is a moment to choose which side you are going to be on. We are not approaching the slippery slope to autocracy and dictatorship. We're on that slope. There is no realistic or moral way of making nice with ICE or with the autocrats who have released them from any bonds of decency they may once have been bound by. As regards trying to curry favor with the current administration in an effort to preserve federal funding for this county, that's a lost cause because Marion County is a blue state and the Trump administration is avowedly punishing those blue states by cutting their funding, as well as cutting the funding for programs that support those who need help. So I'm here along with a lot of others to ask again that you stop this frivolous, wasteful, and dangerous lawsuit and focus instead on protecting those whom it is your sworn duty to protect.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Lori Doherty. Is Lori here?
I can barely hear you.
Is Lori here? Lori Doherty? We would say Doherty. Oh, come on. Yeah, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Laura Doherty. I live on Church Street Northeast in Salem. I just want to be brief and repeat something that other people have said. Without a judicial warrant, you do not comply with ICE. It's clear, it's simple. You do not need a lawsuit to define what you need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then finally we have Candace Scott.
Good morning. My name is Candace Scott, and I live in a rural community, Scotts Mills. And I have two questions, kind of rhetorical questions for the commissioners. First of all, do you know any migrants? Or do you have any friends that are migrants? Do your children have any friends that are migrants? Do your grandchildren have friends that are migrants? Do you do business with migrants? Do you go to places where migrants own businesses? That's my first question, rhetorical. Second question is, how would you like those migrants to be treated? Humanely, with consideration, like you would treat members of your family? Or do you want them treated with terror, with masks, people coming up to them, asking them questions? How do you want them to be treated? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's everybody who I have signed up for public comment. So we're going to move on with the rest of our board session. Before we do, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came. And as I mentioned at the beginning, exercised their First Amendment rights and spoke to their local government. I appreciate your presence here, and I appreciate how respectful you were with your comments. So with that, commissioners, I would take a motion for our consent agenda.
All right, I move to approve the consent agenda under Board of Commissioners OLCC application to recommend approval to Zinnery LLC DBA Nagoya Japanese Steakhouse and Sushi. And under Health and Human Services to approve amendment number 1 to the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority to add $104,840.82 for program elements PE01-12, ACDP infection prevention training, and PE 4301, Public Health Practice, Immunization Services for a new IGA total of $5,970,243.62 through June 30th, 2027. And to approve the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Human Services in the amount of $41,570,102, in which the county, acting as the administrator for the Community Developmental Disabilities Program, will oversee and deliver developmental disability services to eligible individuals retroactive to July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Under Public Works, to schedule final consideration to adopt an administrative ordinance on September 24th, 2025 for zone change, comprehensive plan change, administrative review, case number 25-001, Jerome Lackner. Item number 6 is to schedule final consideration to adopt an administrative ordinance on September 24th, 2025 for zone change case number 25-003, Lucky June, LLC. Item 7, to schedule final consideration to adopt an administrative ordinance on September 24th, 2025 for comprehensive plan change, zone change partition case number 19-005, Lois Fenig, trustee of the Henry O. and Lois Fenig Trust. Under Tax Office, approve an order for a property tax refund for Ripe LLC, account 512162, in the amount of $56,506.77. And finally, under the Treasurer's Office, approve an order to establish a petty cash fund within the Marion County Human Resources Department in the amount of $100 to reimburse parking fees for county employees attending meetings at Courthouse Square.
One more.
There's one more?
Information technology.
Oh, excuse me. Finally, under information technology, approve the contract for services with Carasoft Technology Corporation in the not to exceed amount of $163,369.34 for implementation of Splunk Cloud services for the Marion County Enterprise Resource Planning Project through December 31st, 2025.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. We were trying to trick you by
Well, I
adding
think
that
it's
item.
the red letters had me go like, stop. Maybe it should be
Okay.
green next time.
Next up, we're going to consider approval of the intergovernmental agreement between Marion County Sheriff's Office and the Marion County Fire District 1 to establish terms and conditions under which Marion
You're
County
welcome.
Fire District
Have
1
your
will
own
provide certified paramedics to train with and act on call as members of our SWAT team. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Hunter, Marion County Sheriff, and here with me this morning is
Kyle McMahon, Fire Chief, Marion County Fire District Number 1. Good morning.
How are you, Chief? Welcome.
Great. So we are here this morning to talk about an intergovernmental agreement between the Marion County Sheriff's Office and Marion County Fire District Number 1. It's actually quite exciting. So in 2006 was the last time that we had this type of an agreement with Marion County Fire District 1. To give you a little bit of history and the why to this. So for our tactical operations or SWAT operations, one of the things that we are bound to and that we strive for is the NTOA, which is the National Tactical Officers Association. So those are the federal guidelines or federal standards across the entire country. One of those is a recognition, and the latest, and they're called, and I'm sorry about all the acronyms, so I'll keep defining them, but they're called the TROS, T-R-O-S, which is the Tactical Response Operations Plan. So NTOA creates this standard, and one of the things that they looked at specifically was what they call TEMS, which is the Tactical Emergency Medical Support. And how do we, for all involved, since our primary objective is the preservation of life, how do we provide medical services and the best medical services as fast as possible for anyone involved in those situations? NTOA, recognizing that, changed their tiering standards, and their tiering standards are simply for how each team that is represented across this country is tiered out. So most Tier 1 teams are full-time SWAT teams, Las Vegas Metro, Dallas, think your big cities. And then Tier 2 are just a drop beyond that because they're not full-time teams. But within that Tier 2 standard, we are required to have 2 emergency medical personnel assigned to the team. Sometimes you think of this just in the SWAT operation sense, but think about any critical incident that we respond to where we have injuries sustained to anyone. Our ability to get medical services to those individuals as fast as possible, because when we know, when it comes to medical issues, time is the biggest factor. And this allows us to, and I will use this one, and I will use an active incident at a school or something else like that. This allows us to get medical personnel there much faster than us having to secure a scene to then bring medics in to treat folks or take folks from the interior to bring them to the outside of the scene to be treated by medics. This gives us an actual first responder medic unit that is moving with first responder personnel that can, and their designated job is to provide emergency medical care as fast as possible to stabilize that person if they need stabilized, to then remove them from the scene. So I have a huge level of excitement with this IGA and the collaboration with Chief McMahon and Marion County Fire District 1, which is the reason that there's no fiscal component, no financial component with this IGA at all. But we wanted to bring this forward to you all and share this. We have already had the tryouts, so we literally have a couple of medics waiting, ready to go, ready to join the team and start training and move that forward. This is the final piece of the puzzle that we had to work out to get there.
Great, thank you. Chief, your turn.
No, I appreciate the collaboration and the cooperation that the sheriff has brought to the district. We're very excited to be back kind of in the SWAT medic program. We've had a couple guys that were SWAT medics before 2006 that are made the team again, and lots of young, energetic folks. So there's 3 on the team that made the cut, and plenty more. I think there's up to 6 more that are ready the next year that will backfill and expand as we need. But again, as the sheriff said, no financial portion, exchange. This is something that we want to do. Provides an opportunity. I love the fact the sheriff pointed out, putting those medics in that spot. If there is an injury or illness that somebody goes down, we don't have to wait, and time is critical, especially in traumatic situations of getting somebody to the operating room within 60 minutes. This just goes to that fact.
It's fabulous. Yeah, that's exciting. Commissioners, do you have questions?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, this is for our Marion County Sheriff's Office SWAT team, correct?
Correct.
Marion County SWAT team. Does the city of Salem, they have their own SWAT team, City of Salem. Do they have a medical team on their?
They do. So they have the same type of an IGA, intergovernmental agreement with Salem Fire. And so Salem Fire is providing those services to the Salem SWAT.
Okay, and we had this in the past. It dropped off for whatever reason, and we're now bringing it back. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate seeing you.
Nice to see you all.
I'll never forget the night I stayed over in the fire station off of Corden Road.
Was
I won't forget it either, because I worked there then.
Yeah. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning for a call, and I got out to the fire engine. I go, "Where's my glasses?" I was half asleep.
You wouldn't have made
I wouldn't have made that.
He wouldn't have hired you.
You were always welcome back. We're just a little busier than it was, so you may not get much sleep.
Yeah. I'll never forget the language that was going back and forth between the sheriff's deputies that were sitting over here off the highway and the fire guys that were in the fire engine. There's some nice language gone back and forth. You guys love each other, don't
All
you?
about camaraderie.
Yeah, exactly.
Friendly banter is what we call it.
Banter's a good term, but we know the working relationship right now is I would say is as good as this working relationship has ever been. Realizing that we are all first responders, we have separate jobs to do, but this is a great example of where we can actually collaborate, and this collaboration makes the community safer.
Good job.
I just want to say I appreciate both of your leaderships in the community. It seems like the groups that you represent have really healthy mindsets right now, and I think that's really important to the service that you provide to our community, and I believe it's because of your leadership. So thanks for bringing this forward and for what you do.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I will move that we approve an intergovernmental agreement between the Marion County Sheriff's Office and the Marion County Fire District Number 1 to establish the terms and conditions under which Marion County Fire District 1 will provide certified paramedics to train with and act on call as members of the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT team through December 31st, 2029.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Commander Ramsey, it's your turn. We're going to consider approval of a purchase order with, I'm going to mispronounce this, Henry Schein Incorporated, that utilizes the Criminal Justice Commission jail-based medications for opioid use disorder grant funding. You're going to have to do the rest of it.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jacob Ramsey, Marion County Jail Commander. So at the beginning of the year, the Sheriff's Office was awarded a grant through the Criminal Justice Commission for jail-based medications for opioid use disorder. When we were awarded the grant, our intention was to purchase these medications through our current contracted pharmaceutical provider, CorrectRx. What we found out is through CorrectRx, we were only able to order these medications patient-specific, which becomes problematic because of how many people were coming in and out of our facility. It was difficult to identify if they needed this assistance, these medications, get it ordered and get it to them before they left. So we established a partnership, or we're trying to establish a partnership with a company called Henry Schein with the Minnesota Multi-State Agency Cooperative. They can provide us these medications at bulk so we can have them on hand, and the doctor will prescribe that medication, and then we have it on hand. We can give that to them Even if somebody's only there for a couple days, we're able to give them that medication. It's injectable medication, and if they get released, it'll help them even when they're out in the community. So what I'm here today is to ask to create a purchase agreement with Henry Schein to purchase these medications in bulk.
Fabulous. Thank you. Do you have any questions, commissioners?
I just, clarification on the funding source. What source of funding are you, did you get a grant to do this, or are you general funding it?
It's a grant, ma'am. So it was put into the general fund underneath the pharmaceutical line item.
Great, okay.
Just to clarify, this is general fund money that we have to spend all the time on medications for.
We have to spend this specifically on opioid use medications.
Okay.
Because we got a Criminal Justice Commission jail-based medications for opioid use disorder grant.
We're saying two separate things. So in general, we spend a lot of general fund dollars on treatment for individuals who are incarcerated because they don't have insurance. It stops when they come in the door. That's the same for juveniles. And in this case, we were awarded a grant for this specific body of work.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All important, and I'm thrilled to have the grant.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Okay.
Ready.
I move to approve the purchase order with Henry Schein, Inc. that utilizes Criminal Justice Commission jail-based medication for opioid use disorder grant funding in the amount of $153,720 for the one-time purchase of Brixadi subcutaneous injection medication to provide treatment to individuals in custody with an opioid disorder through December 31st, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Commander.
Thanks, Commander.
Okay, Kelly, you're up. We're going to consider the approval of the grant agreement with the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center to utilize opioid settlement funds, the amount of $175,399.30 for the Salem Teen and Family Recovery Program.
All
Go
right.
for it.
Great. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kelly Weiss. I'm the Community Services Director here at Marion County. And today you have the opportunity to consider approval of a grant agreement with 4D Recovery for their development of a comprehensive adolescent and family treatment program. The grant is in the amount of $175,399.30, and it's utilizing opioid settlement funding. So as part of this grant, 4D Recovery is required to submit a couple different reports at a couple different times at the initiation of the funding, so the request for funding, and then at the conclusion of the funding year. So the two reports are a budget report. So that's going to be including sources of revenue, including estimated billable hours, as well as any other grants or revenue that they're receiving. And then all expenditures. So the expenditures for the entire year, what they're anticipating, and then when the conclusion, what they saw. And then an activity report, which would include timeline for major milestones, as well as the number of individuals served by demographics, as well as geographic distribution. So that completion report will also include a presentation to the Board of Commissioners. So you should look forward to seeing them in a year. And with that, I do want to note that we have some representatives from 4D Recovery here. We have Tony Benza and Nick Kropser, and they're available to talk about their program if you would like and answer any questions.
Up. If you want to just grab one of those chairs, if there's not two chairs there. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, Commissioners. We're really excited. Probably got 5 minutes, and then can answer any questions, then create a formal presentation, but I do have some notes that I want to read from. First and foremost, my name is Tony Vesna. I'm a person in long-term recovery. Celebrated 13 years sober this year.
Congratulations.
Really grateful for the individuals who helped me get sober, both the treatment professionals and the criminal justice system. Helped give me some accountability and direct me towards treatment. I went to Volunteers of America residential program as a referral from the criminal justice system. It's really helpful for me. Our mission really is to provide a variety of services for young people to help them overcome addiction. We started off as a peer-run organization. We're still a recovery organization. About 95% of people who work for us are in recovery. We've all dedicated our lives to helping other individuals find freedom from addiction through recovery. In Portland metro area, we got about 14 different facilities, mostly young adult. We do deflection, intervention, street outreach. We have outpatient services. Dr. Krapser here was our first clinical director, and he helped set up same-day assessments. So we're doing deflection work. We're able to get people assessed that day. We got about 80 units of transitional recovery housing, and then 1 outpatient center for adolescents. I was fortunate enough to help start the Recovery High School, the first one, and have advocated for the expansion. This program specifically down here, I'll let Nick talk about it more, but it's in conjunction with the Recovery High School, and it's sort of a dream come true for me. The funding that we have here is instrumental in complementing some grant funds we got from Ballot Measure 110 and providing some clinical startup dollars. Measure 110 was not able to give us funds for clinical services, and as we're waiting to get approved by the local CCO to get Medicaid reimbursement and other private insurers, this gives us the ability to immediately start seeing clients and providing both mental health and addiction services. I just want to thank you guys so much for your support, specifically given the way that Measure 110 played out. I know there was some pinch points there around the funding allocation. I wasn't in favor of people losing funding for us to get funding. We lost funding in some of the counties we were previously funded in, but specifically Commissioner Bethel, who I was a little nervous with about meeting for the first time because I know people are upset, but we were able to come in here. We're humble. We want to learn. We want to know how this county operates. We want to know where we fit in and how we can do the best job we can to serve adolescents. Commissioner Colm, you were talking earlier about the children and the footsteps, and that's one of my favorite things in the morning or when I get home from work. It's one of the things I'm not super pumped about around bedtime when I'm trying to hang out with my wife and I hear the little pattering footsteps down the hall. But I was thinking about it, and you know, people they're not born, and when they're young, they don't say, I want to grow up and be a drug addict. It was definitely something that I didn't want, you know, but I got it for whatever reason, biological, social factors. And in Oregon, we don't do a good job of serving adolescents. We're really bad. We don't have many services. There's an assortment of reasons why. Through my chairmanship at the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission, I believe we're detailing a plan that's going to help the system, and we're finalizing that right now, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. But we're going to help a lot of kids and families get their lives back. I've worked with lots of parents over the years who have no options. They send their kids out of state. They don't know what to do. And one of the worst things that I've experienced is that good parents beat themselves up a lot and feel like it's their fault, and they don't have the tools and education they need to help get their kids on the right path. And we're going to provide a solution to them. Dr. Krapser, I'm going to pass it off to you just to talk a little bit about the program down here.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Nick Krapser. I'm the clinical director at 4D Recovery. In a previous life, I had the opportunity to tour you all through the Department of Corrections, the penitentiary.
I remember that.
A few years back. So really excited to be working at 4D. To me, it's a dream come true to be in Marion County because I was born and raised in Marion County and spent a lot of my life here, and my wife and my family and I live in Almsville, so we've been Marion County residents for a long time. Even going back to when I was a kid, there was a dearth of services, just stuff not available for adolescents. And it's nice to be able to see, you know, I'm 50 years old, but it's nice to be able to see that over time, instead of just penalizing and disciplining kids that have had drug problems, now we're looking at it like we need to do something. We need to help support these kids. So being part of being right next door in the same building with Discovery Academy, the Recovery High School, is wonderful. Be able to walk those kids right down the hall and introduce them to services. When I came on at 4D Recovery, one of the things that's very, very important to me is that the work that we're doing is evidence-based, it's based in research, it's best practices. It has nothing to do with, hey, we've done this in the past. If the research says this is the very best thing to do, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're working on. We want to make sure that family reunification is one of the most important things that we're going for. In addition to that, wherever possible, that family reconstruction piece is huge. As Tony said, A lot of parents send their kids out of state because they have to, and that means mortgaging their houses, getting into their retirement accounts, and it's incredibly sad. They should have resources in the city that they live in or in the state that they live in. And hopefully, humbly, we can make an impact on that in where we're at. We have a real robust family program to be able to get families involved, to encourage families, to strongly nudge families to be involved. And in the course that we've been open in Portland, I've had the opportunity to hear some pretty cool things from family members and from the clients that we have. And you'll have to excuse my language, but one of the coolest things that I've heard yet was a client said, "Hey, I realized through this that my parents never signed up for this shit." And I love that. I think that if that's the only thing that they took away from treatment, that's fantastic. But that it gives their family members that opportunity to step back and to say, yeah, I think everybody's finally starting to understand this. I think they're starting to come together because no one wants to have that division in their family, but there really isn't the education provided. There really isn't the opportunity for them to learn that unless they come from being in recovery themselves or they have a really strong knowledge of it. I've also had many clients tell me over the years, my parents said I could confess to anything but never to tell anybody outside the family that I did drugs. There was just such a dark shadow on that they, and then in their heads they realized that this is just a terrible thing. So we're sort of coming out of that now as a society and realizing that you can't really not be directly or indirectly affected by drug addiction. So it's really a great opportunity to be in Marion County and to be able to help provide some of those services for not only the youth that we have, but their family members as well.
Fabulous. And I'm glad you recognized Commissioner Bethel because if it wasn't for her, this wouldn't be here. She's been a big advocate for you all and bringing this forward, and a big advocate for making sure that, how would I say, those Measure 110 funds were not misallocated. When there was a little bit of a hiccup, Commissioner Bethel got in there, rolled up her sleeves, and made sure that Marion and Polk counties got the resources we needed to continue to do the work that we're doing here. So it is a credit to you, Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm really glad you're all here. I understand that the original interaction may have been a little concerning for you, and I fully would tell you I would repeat my behavior the same again. One of the things, probably one of the several things that we talked about when we met a few months ago was how remarkable the network is here in Marion County and how fast and willing our partners lean in to each other. I believe that if Carol were here, she would agree that we see each other as a family unit, and there's always a seat at the table. However, we don't want seats taken away from the table, and that was the threat we were facing earlier this year through the Behavioral Health Resource Network process. And while I never had any negative opinions of 4D recovery before, I was very concerned, and I remain concerned that the Oregon Health Authority doesn't listen to the grassroots collaborators who are doing this work to fund the needs and to support the asks. Same circumstances that you expressed to me. You just said that you were defunded in other counties, which is a tragedy to those counties because I now know the type of asset that you are to our community. Hence fighting so quickly to move these dollars to make sure that you can have the staff necessary to get your doors open and serving our neighbors, youth, and families. I would invite you all to go to the clinic. I had the opportunity with the sheriff and members of the health team and the district attorney's office to go through the new building, which is the old Oregon State Police building out on Portland Road, and really feel comfortable there. The young woman that spoke and her mom are not just a testament to the trust that they give to you all, but a shining light on what can be. And I imagine a year ago, while she was really in the throes of her addiction, there's no way she would have stood in front of a room of scary people, as she said, to tell her story. Her mom, too, feeling intimidated. I met her before, and she was like, I have to talk in front of all of you. And I'm really proud of them and the work that they've done together as a family. But most importantly, what you talked about, Dr. Krapser, is the shame. And how your family felt shame because of your addiction and the fear that comes with feeling that shame and the fear of being ostracized and pushed out or away from. you guys do a good job of bringing people in. And that's really what this work is about. And I'll continue to show up just as aggressively as I did before tomorrow to fight for the work that you're doing. And I appreciate the generosity that you gave to the state about the desert that we have here in Oregon for juvenile substance use services. But it is a crisis. And I'm excited that you are where you are, working through the navigation of those systems to be a champion for the voice of family and youth specifically. But I want to hear you louder. It's imperative that people like you stand up and talk about the desert that we have so we can continue to be advocates to the legislature and the governor and the Oregon Health Authority for the things that are really important in this community. Lives are lost every day, and I think it's enough. So I'm excited that you're here. And I'm also excited to present a giant fat check to you, like literally I have a big one behind me that we're going to take a picture of and embarrass you through the media to welcome you to Marion County the way we do.
Well, we appreciate being here, and I think this is, in my experience, this is just an issue that everybody agrees upon, and our job is to carry out the work and do a good job. And I say this every time to anybody: if there's something that you see that we're not doing a good job or we need to step up and lean in somewhere else and help, just let us know, and we'll do better and we'll address needs as we can.
Really appreciate that.
I think I'd be remiss in not mentioning that we are having an open house too on Friday the 26th. If you'd like to come through, Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, I did bring some flyers for our annual gala next month. I'll leave.
All right, the 26th.
Gala? Wow, I haven't gone to one of those since the sheriff had one. I didn't have a cowboy hat.
All right.
I'd just like to
please
say something before I make the motion, Sheriff, if that's okay. This is the money that is being granted to you as a result of the opioid settlement money that has come to Marion County, and this is one of the many opportunities we have to use those funds to help stop the tide and change the tide and get people the help that they need. So thank you very much for what the work you do and for accepting these funds to do that work. Really appreciate it. So if you're ready, I'll make that motion.
Make that motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the grant agreement with the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center to utilize opioid settlement funds in the amount of $175,339.30 for the Salem Teen and Family Recovery Program launch to support a comprehensive adolescent and family addiction treatment program with a term ending date of 1 year from the execution.
Just for clarity, it's $170,399.30, and I second the motion.
Isn't that what I said?
Nope.
What did I say?
339, but it's 399.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I really want to give him a lot more money.
I'll accept your amendment to my motion.
Those are important.
I have a motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Okay. Thank you, Gilman. Thank you, Kelly.
We're
for all
going
your
to
work.
actually give him a check presentation. What's
Oh,
behind? We're going to go down there and
You're
take
not allowed to leave yet.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bethel says we want to give you a check.
Stand in the middle. Okay, you got it.
Is it
I'm
level?
just gonna stand next to you. Yeah.
Turn on to slightly to I'm kidding, you're fine.
A lot of numbers on there.
Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Perfect, thank you.
He'll email you the pictures. I'm coming. Nick asked me, and I said yes. Oh, yeah.
So thank you for you.
It is.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't think you can cash that one.
I could try.
If we could hang it at the facility, that
open house.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get something figured out.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for our posted agenda. Commissioners, do you have anything else like that you would like to add?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a couple of comments. It's great to have the public here to give us public comment and input. And I just wanted to say a couple things that I believe in justice for all and about taxpayer dollars. The four individuals that are about this lawsuit have gone through our court system and have been tried and have been convicted and have served their time, all at the expense of taxpayer dollars. And now they're on parole and probation at the expense of Marion County's taxpayer dollars, these four individuals. So I just wanted to make that clear. Also, the amount of money that we're spending on this lawsuit is no more than what we already had in our budget for our legal counsel. Our legal counsel is doing it on their time. So I wanted to clarify those two things. And so there's been justice involved in these four individuals, and taxpayer dollars have been spent at a huge amount on these four individuals that these warrants are about. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bethel?
Yeah, I do have a couple things. First, Peter and Molly, I wanted to say thank you for responding to my statement that I've never sat down with any of you before to speak. No one's ever has been interested. And while yesterday in the discussion it got a little heated, and then I think ended less heated, I appreciate the conversation and the humanity brought to the space, to be people in a space to have a conversation. I didn't necessarily feel it was an us versus them room when we were sitting together having the discussion. While we aren't in agreement on the path forward here, I hope that you both left with learning something new about me and my intentions instead of making assumptions, hearing from me whether you support that or not. And Peter brought to my attention something yesterday that hadn't occurred to me before, and I provided an apology to him. So during the board session 2 weeks ago, we did the same to put the proclamations ahead of the public comment. And during those proclamations, we commended, and I actually promoted the applause of the folks in the space. And I did not allow applause from the audience during the comments of the folks at public comment. And that bothered Peter. And I understand how it didn't occur to me before. And so I just want to say that I apologize for creating a space where you felt unwelcome. That's not the goal. While I don't agree with any of the statements that I heard here today, I do want people to be treated fairly in this space. And so I'm sorry that we allowed one side and not the other to participate equally in the board meeting. And to the gal who asked the question from Turner, who I think is not here anymore, about who we know and live our lives around. We do live in this community. I'm a 5th generation Oregonian. I've lived here my whole life. My family, obviously much longer than myself. We can have the conversation about immigrants and how families got here, because I have deep roots from people who have immigrated here and who were raised here through their tribe. And I live my life today around people who are immigrants, who have gone through the very difficult process to become U.S. citizens. And I'm grateful that they had the opportunity to go through that process. For me, this is very specific, as I said 2 weeks ago. This is about keeping the community safe and being able to do the job that I was elected to do on behalf of the residents in this community. And I appreciate that we don't agree on that. It is unfortunate because it's my goal, really, to try to find common ground with everybody here in Marion County, and I work really hard at that. So I appreciate you coming and being respectful, even though you disagree and are very angry, and I understand your emotion. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
I think it was well said. So with that, we're adjourned.
Good job.